welcome back to the Geektasm. No longer overcrowded, except for the desk on the table. But the three boys are back in town. Merv, Colin, the Buzz, and the hijacker, me. So what we decided to do, it's been a while since we've been together here doing our usual Geektasm. But we've also felt that over time, we kind of like talk about the same things, whether Merv is talking about canon or Invasion USA comes up and everything. But we decided, well, look, we're going to swim anyway. So we got a whole big list of films. And Colin has picked a really magical, momentous year.
1985, the year of canon and Invasion USA.
And it begins.
Anyway.
But there were one or two other little things.
There was several.
There's a couple of movies.
So there's several films to get through and everything like that. But first of all, let's just start with our favorites. I mean, you ran down the list before we started. So, Merv, favorite film of 85.
85.
Then maybe we'll look at.
Whoa, well, I know some people will probably have me burn at the stake for not picking Commando.
I would.
Or Commando. For all its and don't get me wrong, I love that movie. It's majestic. Its silliness is beautiful.
Cartoony.
But for me, 1985, in terms of personal love, and yeah, there's some great movies in that year, but I'm going to have to go with George Romero, Day of the Dead. We just have to be here. It's still my favourite of the whole of the Dead movies. It's Tom Savini's finest 90 minutes in terms of his makeup.
Apart from Invasion USA, the same year.
Apart from Invasion USA. So we did. But it's just glorious. I just love it, and it's really, really, really smart. And I think, and it doesn't get enough credit for being smart.
My only problem with Day of the Dead is, as we all know, it could have been so much more. It could have been this. They wouldn't have made another zombie film after it would have been that. It would have been Gone with the Wind for zombie movies.
Indeed.
If he'd have been given what he was supposed to have been given and not been.
Well, why do you think it went wrong somewhere?
No, it's just the budget. He didn't have the budget for the original script that he.
I mean, the original script's out there online, but if you get the chance to read it, it's fantastic. Essentially, for those who know, if you don't know the movie, you know the movie. They're in an underground bunker, but in the original script, there were two camps. There was the bunker, but there was actually an encampment above the ground, and that's where they were starting to train basically a squadron of zombies.
Yeah.
To first of all stop them from eating people, but also to help battle.
Weren't they also trying to civilize the zombies?
Yeah, exactly that.
I mean, because that actually, to me, that's where it went wrong. You know, with
I think the whole book thing was brilliant
because it takes the story forward.
Brilliant.
You know, you can look at those first three movies, and there's a development along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, Bob, fantastic performance by Howard Sherman, but Bob is really all of the original ideas put into one character.
Yeah. But also, to me, what I was going to say was what Bob seems to represent is if we look at Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead as kind of like the period of zombie movies, which we're flooded with all these zombie movies now. You know, Day of the Dead actually was George Romero's forward thinking that eventually we're going to have to do something different with these zombies. So let's have them be zombies, but then talking. Yeah. So now we got Warm Bodies, we got Life After Beth, we got that new TV show, iZombie, coming out this year. So
I agree with Mayor. I think George was way ahead of his time.
Oh, totally.
Probably still is the most clever filmmaker that is going. He's just not given the credit or the money.
Well, the money, more importantly, the money. And I think that the legacy, it's not a great legacy. I think that in terms of studios are incredibly lazy. I mean, the zombie fad, like every fad, it will go away and then reinvent itself and come back.
Eventually, people,
and no doubt, and they'll mix it up and there'll be zombie ninjas or whatever it is that they think next.
I think they've already done
that. Yeah, I think they are zombie ninjas. Yeah.
But Ninja 3: The Domination might have the relevance there.
I love Lucinda Dickey,
but she doesn't love canon.
No,
she does not love canon. But yeah, that's my favourite anyway. Right. 84. Push comes to shove, it's my absolute favourite.
I'll stick with the horror thing, but I'll go with I love Return of the Living Dead. I know. It
BBC, ITV.
I know. It cracks me up. I just think it's like American Werewolf. It's like American Werewolf. It gets it right.
Yeah. My favourite line is "Send more paramedics."
It just gets it right. It's perfect. It's funny. It's slapstick. It's just great.
Was it Tar Man?
Yeah,
Tarman,
yeah.
not Tar Baby.
Knock his head off with the...
The Tarman thing, that's a fantastic creation as well. It stands up really well.
Yeah, okay. It does it?
But again, I mean, Darren Barron, those, you know, I just love it. I love it to death. But as you can't. 85 was a great year.
Oh well, looking at the list, I mean, it was fantastic.
Yeah, and then you're knocking things like you can say like, well, Back to the Future, or, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, you know, kind of like top of the list favorite. I mean, you know, for me, you know, not to be all on a retro geek horror zombie thing like these guys, I was trying to like zip through the list. I mean, Breakfast Club actually has to be up there, but now now looking at the list, I'm going to pick The Last Dragon.
Well,
Last Dragon.
Bruce
Leroy.
Last Dragon was released the same week in this country as Code of Silence.
Right.
That was a busy pocket money week.
Well, then how was it for you? I mean, like, you know, you're a big Bruce Lee fan, right, and everything like that, and I'm pretty sure you followed like everybody else, the Shaolin and all that kind of stuff. But Last Dragon was not just Barry Gordy's first foray into films, but it was black.
Far from it.
Well, no.
First one in the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
we won't mention Mahogany or Lady Sings the Blues, but never mind. Yeah.
They're musicals, right?
No, they're not. Moving on. One's a drama and one's a biopic, but they're moving on. But not musical.
Anyway,
Last Dragon. So, anyway.
Chase, do you know where you're going to?
Jesus. Invasion USA.
Black Kung Fu movie, though. It must have been different. I mean, not just being from Britain and everything, but being a big fan.
But at that time, I was into blaxploitation movies anyway, so it wasn't that much of a...
Well, yeah, we had.
It didn't do very well over here on the cinema, I must say. So
it did well on VH. It did great.
Well, VHS. It didn't do anything on the cinema.
Nothing.
It just passed away.
You know,
but I love it today. It's just a great film. It's just fun.
No, it's fantastic.
The soundtrack.
Every beat hit.
Yeah,
Shown off as a villain is a glorious creation.
And the thing is, T-Mac had everything.
Yeah.
He had everything.
Yeah.
And he didn't go anywhere.
He had everything.
You know, he's
a good-looking guy.
Ends up in Janet Jackson videos.
And he had vanity.
I was actually sold on 2 points that sold me on that movie. Number one, at the time, in 85, I was
young.
I was living a. I wanted to be part of. No, I had plenty. Yeah, scary thought. I'm Jerry Killed actually, but I just let my soul blow.
Yeah, I know.
But you know, and I was obsessed with all things Prince. So seeing Vanity in the movie, it was like, right, I'm there. I'm there, no matter what. So, and just like I say, I mean, my favourite line in the movie is, "You Rick James looking fool,"
and it looks great.
Yeah, it still holds up.
Yeah,
it's a movie that you
it's
put
very
on.
80s. I mean,
yeah, the music is very 80s.
But
and
it looks fantastic.
The scene in the cinema or movie theatre.
Yeah,
is my absolute favourite.
Do you know that's Ernie Reyes' father?
Yeah.
The one who jumped on the boombox.
Yeah.
And he was a stuntman, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was a stuntman.
Shut up. I wanted to get it right.
Love it to death. It's a great film.
Yeah.
It's a great film. I'd say Code of Silence come out the same year, which is probably got to mention Chuck. It's probably Chuck's best movie.
It's the movie that's got the most weight to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's got
but why does it? Wait a minute. Why does it have the most weight? What the hell is that? Is that your? Yeah. Okay. What did you say? Did you say that Code of Silence was actually was it a Remo Williams script or?
Code of Silence.
No.
Dirty Harry script.
Dirty Harry.
Was an unused Dirty Harry.
James Bruno before Deadpool was even. James Bruno wrote it for a Clint movie.
Yeah.
Passed because he wasn't interested in doing it. The
Chuck
James Bruno's also wrote Missing in Action and stuff like that. So he.
So that's how he got it
down to fit Chuck.
Well, it actually was a change for Chuck, though, wasn't it? Because he did both Missing Actions, right?
Well, he'd signed up for Canon and actually got out the Canon contract
to do
it because he basically said he'd break his contract and probably break their necks as well. So they let him go to Ryan to do Code because he loved the script so much, and it was a proper It was a proper
And
film.
had he done more films with that way? I mean, the thing interesting about it is that you look at his body of work, particularly at that time, it doesn't come across as just another Chuck Norris movie.
No,
that could have
it's
starred
not a
somebody
Chuck
else.
Norris movie. Yeah.
You know, maybe an actor of better quality.
Well, actually, Jackie Chan in The Protector is kind of like that too. It's kind of
The
like
thing is about Code of Silence, though, it's directed by Andrew Davis, who did Nico.
Oh, yeah.
So they're quite similar in.
Yeah,
It's absolutely. It's got the Chicago.
Well, and also all the extras are the same.
They're all the same.
All the top extras. Those Chicago, New York top
that
extras.
white-haired guy who's in like the Home Alone.
White-haired guy, the mustache guy, the black guy. They're all the same.
And there's not very much martial arts in Code of Silence.
No. That's I think that's what.
It's just an action. It's just a proper.
It's an action thriller.
It's what he wanted to do.
No. It's amazing.
And then you look back. I mean, went back and did it basically. You were saying Delta Force, and it's good. And although, alright, if you're Chuck Norris fan, you like them, but Code's got this little bit of quality about it.
A little bit more.
It's not a movie that you could actually remake either. You know, it's kind of. Well, no, because it's kind of like when they remake Taking the Pelham 1, 2, 3. Sacrilege.
Yeah.
What's the point? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, but you could tell somebody somewhere is probably thinking Code of Silence, the remake.
I think this is relevant when Chuck was with decent directors, which in my opinion was only twice, was Andrew Davis and Steve Carver, the other one.
Yeah.
Steve Carver did An Eye for an Eye, Lone Wolf of Kuwait. Chuck should have just made every film with Steve Carver.
Lone Wolf of Kuwait.
He probably wanted to.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Probably wanted to. It looks fantastic. He did that screen back cover. And everything. So let's look at like the themes, right? So that way we can talk about different ones. So I mean, I know you guys love your horror themes. So let's look at the horror films of '85. You know, I mean, not just the best ones, but just kind of like in general the films of '85. I mean, was there anything different?
Before Demons was made in '85.
Love Demons. Love Demons. I love Demons because the black guy surviving. That just happened to be me.
Bobby Rhodes.
You know, well, I call him Rabbit because every time a demon came out, he just ran the other way, which is what you're supposed to do, kids. And I mean, I just loved it, even though it had that Spanish Italian guy who did that TV series on Fox, whatever. But you know, he wasn't very good. They had Linnea Quigley with the cigarette in the breast.
Demons? No, it's Night of the Demons.
It's Night of the Demons.
Chase mismatch your movies now.
Okay, well we'll get back to Demons. I just think it's worth the price of admission alone, just for the helicopter.
The helicopter, which Argento's idea. Yeah. They had no ending. What the hell can we end this?
That guy wasn't.
Danny Argento, wasn't he? Yeah.
Okay.
Bobby Rhodes.
Yeah.
And Danny Argento said, throw a helicopter through the roof.
For no
reason.
No real.
Just because we could.
Yeah.
Just because I went to a screening of that a couple of years ago, and I took my buddy Mike along, and he'd never seen it. He knew all about it, but he'd never actually seen it. And about the purpose, he didn't tell him about that scene. And the moment it happened, I just glanced over at him, and his jaw was hitting the floor. Like, what the is this?
It's a cool.
I mean, that's another. Was Friday Night '85?
Yeah.
Friday Night was probably the most high-profile horror movie that year.
Summer movie, 180.
Peter Vincent.
Just going back to Demons, the original premiere of Demons was in the Berlin cinema where it was filmed.
All right.
They actually showed it in that cinema.
Although adding Go West to the soundtrack was unforgivable.
Again, that's Argento.
So
it's just some bad taste in music.
So yeah, Fright Night. Go ahead, Merv. I mean, I see Cat's Eye on here, but Fright Night.
Fright Night's a great one.
Fright Night is so much fun.
I never even bothered to look at the remake, by the way.
Oh, I
never. I haven't. No,
I don't acknowledge its existence. I think I've not. But then again, I don't really acknowledge the sequel to it either. But But getting back to it's such a really simple idea.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it lays out the rules and sticks rigidly to them, and it's something that a lot of movies, particularly kind of sci-fi or fantasy or science fiction, they don't stick to the rules.
You have to have faith.
Little things like that, like the fact that they say, well, the vampire can't come into your house unless he's invited.
And I love the way I love the way he gets into the house.
The idea that you could live next door to a vampire and be perfectly safe if you stick to the rules. But it's little things like, but also
it's actually genuinely funny.
Yeah,
it's a funny film.
And Ronnie McDowell is clearly having the time of his life.
Even the Renfield guy.
He's brilliant.
Now he doesn't. I don't know what's because he was an actor. He was a working actor. but he had very little lines. But just that one intimidating scene with Brewster and everything, it was just fantastic.
Who's the Bruce's mate? What's his name?
Guy who went up doing gay porn. Yeah.
Oh, you're so cool, bro.
His IMD listing is very interesting, to say the least.
I don't know why you would know that.
Brad Friedel soundtrack? right after Terminator.
Oh, here it is, Fright Night.
Right after Terminator, he did.
Yeah, here it is, Fright Night, yeah. No,
it's a great little film. I love Fright Night. Also, 85 was the return of the Western.
Yes, Silverado.
Silverado.
Well, Pale Rider is Pale Rider. But because what was it, Outlaw Josie Wells, the sequel or something like that?
Well,
but anyway.
Oh, the Return of Outlaw Josie. But that's not a TV movie though.
Yeah. No. I mean, Pale Rider was.
Pale Rider was.
It was a sequel. It was a sequel to High Plains.
It wasn't a sequel at all. It was just a lazy writing. Let's just do it again kind of movie.
Clint's fantastic,
and Clint's great in it, but it's not. It's just I find it quite a flat movie. I remember it coming up and being really excited by the fact that I was old enough to go and see a brand new Clint Eastwood Western. I didn't like westerns, but I like Clint Eastwood. But to be old enough to go and see it at the cinema, and just
I think
the middle is so dull.
It's
very dull. But I think when they read the script, Clint Eastwood in the dog collar. When he's digging, what was he like digging the ditch and everything?
He was better in the dog collar in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, but there's some great, there's little touches in it that are really good. They're really, I like the fact obviously the pickaxe handle scene is great.
Yeah.
And when they all line up in their overcoats, which is clearly a nod to. I'm going to hold this one up here. Once Upon a Time in the
There's
West.
a great the end scene when the camera's going through past all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
I actually think Silverado's a better.
Silverado to me is like the classic western from my generation. Because of course you got Magnificent Seven and all the greats and Wild Bunch and everything, Sam Peckinpah, but Silverado, Lawrence Kasdan.
And
that what also was great about it, Danny Glover.
Danny Glover's great. Everyone's great except
black guys show up, right?
Except for one thing.
John Cleese.
No. I can live with John Cleese.
Oh no, I love it.
I can live with John Cleese, but
my jurisdiction is here.
The problem I had was early signs as well from my disdain for the man, Kevin Costner, because his character is so annoying. So annoying. So annoying, and he's supposed to, and I appreciate he's supposed to be this kind of like, excitable kid, but he's like, someone just shooting now.
Yeah, he was like, it was too much. He was like Babyface Nelson or something like that, you know what I mean?
It's a good movie.
It looks great. Once again, it looks like great.
Sky Glenn. Sky Glenn in the cave, Only thing I didn't like about Danny Glover's role was he does the same thing always, like when he's distressed, so when he was in the cave and he was, he shot and he was sweating, he does that look on his face that he had.
And he does it in Enemy Mine.
Danny Glover wasn't in it.
Luke Gossett.
Now you got it!
Lawrence Fishburne. No, Sam Jackson. No, wait. Morgan Freeman.
It's one of them.
It was my dad.
Anyway, but no. Kevin Kline, Tour de Force. I mean, like you're gonna probably tell me Fish Called Wanda came out first or second. 88. Okay. So these two movies are quintessential Kevin Kline, Fish Called Wanda, and but it started here because his character Peyton was just, it was an origin story. I felt because everything was from when he lost his clothes and gun.
Oh, you mean the silly? He does silly very well. He does silly very well. And
he moved that movie.
That was the first movie. That was his first movie where he was, with the exception of Pirates of Penzance, which doesn't really count, but in terms of his actual kind of like taking absurd situations or absurd characters, that was the first movie where I remember of him anyway.
And then he launched it.
Prior to that, I actually saw him as a serious actor. He seemed like Sophie's Choice or whatever, and there's no room for silliness there. But
I think there should have been.
It would have kept me
was lacking. The movie was Muppets.
Yeah.
All right.
Sophie's Choice and Muppets.
Right.
But then 85 was the year of Rambo.
Well, yeah, Rambo had gone from being popular to...
I see Rambo First Blood 2, really.
Rambo First Blood Part 2, indeed.
But what I was going to say was...
Which I watched again not that long ago, and actually really enjoyed it.
Did you?
Yeah, it was just...
I can't.
It's funny.
I can't watch it because I'm always thinking about Ruckus with Dirk Benedict when I see Rambo.
Well, but obviously First Blood, I think.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
No, the thing is, the difference between obviously First Blood is... Rambo's just like, they've just got... Just use the character again! And then even
tie that red bandana.
which it's hasn't got the heart of the first one.
Didn't he get tortured in Rambo 2 as
I
well?
think pretty much all of them.
No, I mean, but it was a really big torture porn.
Well, it's there's a scene with the
he's
strapped up to the.
He's strapped to the bed.
He's strapped to the bed. He's strapped to the
They
mattress.
just came this close to
They
put
put
him on his
the hot
nipples.
thing on his eyes or whatever.
But it was huge. It was massive, wasn't it?
It was the biggest R-rated movie that year. It was the second biggest movie. I think second or third maybe biggest movie the year after Back to the Future, which was ridiculously popular that year.
Huge. Well, I was gonna go. It's not a huge movie, but a good favorite of mine, and just also because I came back from Berlin, is Gotcha.
I love Gotcha.
I freaking love Gotcha. Anthony Edwards was amazing in this movie. I mean, yeah, Anthony Edwards and Linda Fiorentino, wasn't it? And where young college student goes off to Berlin and has this big mystery tour, but. The best thing about it was the Gotcha was like, because I think it's because I was in college at the time, so it was like just going around like shooting people with these air guns.
The things done before that, it was Tag.
Tag,
The guy who's in the animator, the lead in the animator.
Bruce thing.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Let's do it. He's in Phil Coulson.
Yeah, I forget his name.
He's in Tag. That was sort of, I think they got the idea from that.
Right.
But I think Gotcha's just this more commercial.
80s, when we're talking about 80s, especially 85, it was always a soundtrack, wasn't it?
It was always that long, would you?
What?
You wouldn't have thought Anthony Edwards had been around that long, 85.
Maybe if I talk
but come on, man.
Well, yeah, but
Miracle
that
Mile,
was the year before.
that was, and it was before he went bald.
Yeah.
And did ER. So for people, that was like, that's Anthony
Thunderbirds.
Yeah,
Miracle
Mile
Mile
was ER, Anthony Edwards, but they don't realize that he was a big star.
Yeah, absolutely.
Top Gun.
Although I'm sure he chose today with George Clooney, but
Yeah, possible.
What? I'm sure I was in that show too,
How I got into comedy.
In fact, when the ER started, I was the famous one.
That was Doc Green, man.
Yeah, that was me.
I can be Batman.
Yeah.
I don't think he could have been really.
No, not really, no. But
Life Force, 1985.
Life Force. What's her name? Matilda May or whatever?
Matilda May.
What happened to her? What's going
on? Matilda May's still around. She makes she does a lot of French TV these days.
I'm pretty sure she does, man.
But she was. It's funny actually because I recently got my hands on I recently.
Who's going to remake that?
I don't know. Well, no, they wouldn't call it Life Force. All right, go on.
I recently watched it again on stunning Blu-ray, fantastic transfer film. But I watched the big hour-long documentary behind it, and one thing you learn is that Matilda May, A, number one, how brave, but B, what was interesting was the fact that how far she was prepared to go, and what got cut out the movie. There's stuff that was cut out, like dailies, where even Canon themselves saying, you need to go back and fix this. Okay, you need to go because this is just too much.
You need to see those dailies.
Okay,
yeah, where are they, man?
Well, I'm
shake them out, man.
I'm sure they're.
Anyway, back to the movie. Steve Bell's back.
But once again, it's one of those movies where it's a good idea. It looks nice, but when push comes to shove,
I watched it not that long ago, and it's just a 50s B movie.
It is totally a B movie. Yes.
I love it to death.
Like Invaders from Mars.
And Mancini's soundtrack.
Mancini's fantastic.
How come nobody mentioned
the craftsmanship?
Steve Bell.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
Right.
He's not great.
He's not even great.
He's sleepwalking in that movie.
He is sleepwalking.
His moment to shine.
In fact, actually, everyone is.
No, but I mean,
I like Frank Finlay in it because he's so over the top. No.
That's not Patrick Stewart.
It is.
No, it's not. I'm talking about the cop.
No, that's Colin Firth.
Peter
Firth. Peter Firth. Colin Firth's about 3 feet taller.
That would have been good, isn't it?
Colin Firth was about 14 at the time, but there we go. But Peter Firth, who for British viewers, he was Dominic in those series of plays, which are about time travel. And if you've never seen those, check it out.
Now, what I was going to say was, looking at that list that came out around the same time as Life Force, is Daryl. You guys like Daryl?
I don't like Daryl.
I love Daryl. I mean, that's because you have no sentiment.
I don't.
Wait a minute. Early computer movie. You know what I mean? It is pretty dated looking at it, but the heartwarming sentiment.
Far from it.
Michael McKean, the little, what's his name? The kid who was in Neverending Story.
Noah Thingy.
Yeah, Noah Thingy. No, that's Noah Hathaway, but no, the kid who played Daryl. He was from Neverending Story. Anyway, great movie, Daryl.
I like Daryl.
It was nice.
I've seen it for a while.
I've seen that.
Two
always good
Sunday.
Sundays.
Two just really disappointing movies in '85. Year of the Dragon.
Oh God, no!
It should have been.
It should have been the best movie. It should have been the best movie.
It should have been brilliant.
Michael Cimino and
Okay. Number one.
I think Mickey.
Number one. Watch the two key things about it. I love still to this day. Year of the Dragon is the photography is stunning. Considering it was made, if you look at the majority of the movies made between say '84 and '89, where like a lot of films, cheap film stock was being used even by the majors, and it just looked terrible, and flat and washed out. It is stunning looking. Brian Thingy's score as well is just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It's just a script.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's just a script.
It's bad. It's a bad film.
And you could cut a good half hour out of it as well.
Yeah.
The Protector was the other.
You thought that was pretty bad?
It's awful.
Yeah. It's a classic example of Hollywood thinking it knows better.
Well, yeah.
But it still happens to this day.
Yeah, but we had this conversation about what kind of film Bruce Lee would make and stuff like that. And the reason why I brought that up is because The Protector, because Jackie was already doing Super Comp and Project A.
He took Project A.
Well, but what I'm trying to say, it was the Americans'
Every
attempt.
story was the same year, wasn't it? 85.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is it was the Americans' attempt to get this new Asian superstar and put him into an American movie.
The thing was, when you think it was directed by the guys in the Exterminator.
What, Robert Ginty?
No, the guy who directed, not starred. James Guggenhouse.
Alright.
James Guggenhouse directed. I remember seeing it when James Guggenhouse directed and thinking, oh my god, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be.
Sadly, though, it has the you can actually feel the studio all over it. But once again, it's a classic example of we like what you do, but you can't actually do it.
Yeah, basically. And he was contracted as well. He got contracted after Cannonball Run.
That's right.
To do. And he wasn't. He played dirty Harry.
And it's just,
You go back and tell him you've seen the Hong Kong version. He's just about half an hour more.
No, I've never seen it.
Jackie Dad.
Wasn't that called Super Cup?
No. He
did a Protector that was.
He did like
an additional scene. Like the Game of Death Hong Kong version.
The end fight with Bill Wallace is totally reshot. Jackie directed it.
Really? So they just let him have
access to Jackie had Golden Harvest had total cut.
Oh, did they? Nice one.
Guggenhouse was furious. He wanted to sue him.
Well, I never directed that.
I really like it.
You can tell. The funny thing is, you can tell. You can totally tell.
I now gotta watch that now. I mean,
the Jackie scenes are fantastic. They just look like a Jackie Chan.
They wouldn't call it a director's cut.
I can see in my head now.
Nice cut.
Remember, like the rental VHS of it.
Great cover.
But it's really completely misleading because no offense to Jackie, but you've never been that ripped.
Oh, you talking about Rumble in the Bronx?
Well, no, this is really like this is Bruce times 2.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
Yeah. Me and I went to a video premiere in Manchester of it when we went to the video show. We got tickets to see the video premiere. We went there. It was me and one other guy. Some representative from Warner Home Video go, I thought there would be more people.
Yeah, I thought there would too.
Obviously, they'd seen the film.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so let's look at, because it's '85, we can't ignore these hip hop movies, please. Rapping and
Breakdowns.
Crush Groove.
Crush Groove better because once again, here we go. My Prince past is well. It's never my past. It's always. Because Cross Groove
we don't call
features Sheila Reid. Sheila Reid is in that movie. She's basically the lead in that one, and it's just a good stuff.
See, a lot of people actually look, have you seen Crush Groove?
Well, Rapping Hood.
We saw everything.
Yeah.
We saw everything. We had three channels on TV.
Were you flooded with all of them? Were you flooded with all of them because like, of course, we were flooded with them in America, but were you flooded because didn't Disorderly come out at the same time too?
No, that was
later on.
Was that late? Well, but I mean, yeah. So Rapper was just one of those movies. First of all, it was Mario Van Peebles. Before, wasn't it? Before, what's his name?
Before Wesley Snipes.
No, before that movie, what's his name?
Yeah, that was New Jack City.
New Jack City.
Yeah,
Mario
6 years before.
Mario Van Peebles had done Exterminator 2.
Exterminator 2 by that time, yeah.
No, but I mean, like, it was Mario Van Peebles starring in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think what happened is that for me, I think Beat Street came out, and which wasn't great. It wasn't.
Dare you?
That was it.
Okay. We're gonna rewind. We're gonna actually. Okay.
When Rapper came out,
I can't let this go. I cannot let this go. Okay. At the time, going back 1 year to '84, when Beat Street came out. Okay. Between me and my b-boy friends. Okay. I got b-boy friends. I used to hang with a thing called the STA Rockers. Anyway, cut long story short, that was, it's like, yeah, breaking the movie, or break dance the movie is going on over here. Breaking, that's really, Beat Street, that's the real deal, man, that's the real deal. Because it
was about the music.
It was a better movie, you know. But getting back to 85 and Rapid.
Wasn't there Wild Style?
Yeah, Wild
Style.
So
that's 82.
Yeah.
That was essentially an underground. Fat Fried Freddy, but that was produced by Chris Stein from London.
Yeah, well, that was the whole thing. Is everybody is crediting Blondie with creating this whole rap thing with her Rapture song.
Well, she
you know what I mean. Please tell me you know what I mean.
Okay.
I know it's not no credit to her.
Rapture. Well, no, what Blondie did was bring it to the white masses. That's how.
Well, yeah, of course, man. I'm from the hood.
But we had hold on. Go back to the UK. We knew all about Rapper's Delight and Curtis Blow.
Well, of course you did. Everybody knew.
Right,
music. What you're talking about, like the whole. Just say to the masses, to this whole scene.
Absolutely,
became big. But anyway, back to them.
85 with those two. That was sort of the end of it, wasn't it?
It was.
That's always the way, though, with kind of music fads, with movies.
Yeah.
But that's what
I always catch on to it.
Yeah.
By the time the movie comes out.
I think I remember even Last Dragon. It's got like a little bit of a scene in it with a bit of breakdance.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah. Because of the Breaking 2 and everything like that with Boogaloo and stuff like that. Because the kid in Last Dragon was supposed to be like that Boogaloo shrimp character, but it killed it, man. It really killed it. It didn't actually take its form seriously. As far as drama or comedy and everything. So it was really done. But that's what I had liked about rapping was because they didn't try and make a rap film. They were just making a Robin Hood film, set in the hood.
Crack film. Which it was. It was Orlando Lawless. No, Alonzo Lamas.
Lorenzo
Lamas.
Him. Yeah, him from, was it Falcon Crest?
Yeah.
He's in
Renegades. That's it.
Yeah.
He's also in Greece.
Remo.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, Live and Die in LA. I'll go to that.
Remo, Live and Die in LA.
Live and Die in LA. Yeah, because I mean, again about the music, but it's different. It's more sinister. The looks of the films are changing.
So I'm just laughing because the idea of Sinister and Wang Chung.
It's a cracking soundtrack.
It's great.
But I mean, it wasn't Michael Mann though, was it?
No, freaking.
So
that was.
But it had a Michael Mann style too, didn't it? With the counterfeit scene and all that.
The problem with Freakin', he had to do it for a long time.
But this is what I mean, because he was doing French Connection and all that.
No, that was 10 years in.
No, I know.
But he'd done Cruise, he flopped.
Sorcerer.
It's a Sorcerer flopped. He'd done the Deal of the Century.
It's terrible.
And no one wanted to work with Freakin' again, and so he went back.
But he still had, unfortunately, because of the success of The Exorcist, he still had.
He could get a meeting. But pretty much somebody just gave him this film, didn't they?
But if you're going to watch it, if you're going to look at Freakin' and go, you've made this, you're not doing it, and then he goes, I want to do a film like French Connection,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, because
the only other thing he could have done was I want to do a horror movie. Now you're
gonna probably say I'm wrong. Now you're gonna probably say I'm wrong because you do it all the time. But when
you're wrong, we don't do it all the time.
But he actually, this film, what was different about Live and Die in LA for me was the hero.
Spoiler.
I can say it. You've seen the movie.
Everyone's seen it.
the hero gets it in the middle of the film.
That's why I love about. I think it's.
I think everybody loves it.
That's what it has.
It's what you call the third act main culmination. Yeah, it's like the best third act main culmination
as well,
and nobody's done it at that time.
No,
this is what I mean.
Genuine surprise.
He's off on this Batman mode, this cop on the edge, and we've always heard it, Dirty Harry and all these kind of films, and really he got in over his head. He got in over his head because he was cracked. They just got finished playing racquetball or something. Yep. They just got finished having a sauna. Everybody's all laughing and everything, and
even
boom,
though the blood does
bam!
on top of the gun.
It was like, what the hell? What the hell?
Freaky, doesn't he? He definitely has some sort of fetish towards people being shot in the face.
Yeah. Well, doesn't everyone?
Hitchcock and friends or whatever it was.
I live
But it was just amazing. Even though it was kind of unrealistic, Stuart Pankow, the partner, who was like the Robin to the Batman, now had to take out the big bad Joker. Yeah. But it was just excellent. And then the ending,
It's just a great
when he goes to the bad girl's house and go,
I'm the daddy now. It's a great film.
And I'm surprised neither of you mentioned it. It's a bit of a cliche, but the car chase is stunning.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mention the car chase because
car chase is mad. But he did French Connection. You know what I mean? And he comes from the era of 7-Ups. Because wasn't it kind of like going back to that when you think?
See, I think it's a better car chase than French Connection. I don't actually think French Connection car chase is very good. It's not even a car chase.
It's not.
It's a car chase.
No. I'm
talking
about that period. Yeah, I'm talking about that period.
I prefer the car chase in Man with the Golden Gun. That's not a joke.
I'm not trying to joke here. But I mean, like, if you think about it, right? Like, as a filmmaker, right? He made French Connection and 7-Ups, and if you talk about car chases, he's probably saying, I could do this better.
Absolutely.
And Living Die in LA gave him that chance. Not those other films.
Yeah. Of course, no one was doing a film like that at that time. If you look through the entire,
like I said before, it's like it should have been made 10 years earlier. Yeah. That was a movie.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's not like that Serpico.
No, I think the colors and the palette of that film wouldn't have worked.
Well, no, but it wouldn't have looked like that. But in terms of themes, it's the themes and the drama of the movie itself is very much. You could definitely have done that in 75, 76.
I'm willing to focus.
But best of all,
naked.
Steve James is in it.
Steve James is in it, yeah.
Steve James. We have nothing but praise for Steve James.
Love of Steve James and
stuff.
stuff. And
what
was it? He was like, oh man, it looked like a prison scene. Well, I think you need to take that.
He's the only thing missing from Invasion USA.
You know what I mean? When they change him his money. I
love what's the Chuck Norris film, Hero on the Terror?
Yeah. Hero on the Terror, yeah.
He just jogs around the cinema. And he just looks, that's all Steve James does the entire film. And he's cool. What's my scene in this film? You jog around the cinema.
Okay.
I'll do it really cool as well. Cool. Great man.
Great man.
So now, coming down to the end of the 85, let's look at the end period because it is a pretty phenomenal year.
Sorry, Witness come out that year as well, which was a big film for
Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And Danny Glover.
Danny Glover is the bad guy.
But also, wouldn't you think that his character John Book was a change for him? Because he was trying to be different than Han Solo and all that other
kind of Raiders.
He did that. He did the following year. He was in Mosquito Coast. These are quite Oscar bait movies.
He tried to be an actor, which is
my personal favourite performance by Harrison Ford is Working Girl.
He's great.
Because he's a little bit stupid in it, and that's great.
He's actually quite good. I don't care much for the film too much, but he's excellent. He's regarding Henry.
Yeah. But I just find that a bit Oscar baity.
Yeah, but it's very good.
Hey, Chase. Hey, we haven't had a Geektasm all day. What's going on? Hey, regarding Henry, do you know who wrote it? Somebody who definitely would float your boat, as they say.
No.
The guy who wrote Caligula.
No. If only. J.J. Abrams.
No way.
Yes way.
All right. I think I remember that. That was one of I think I remember reading that. Yeah, that's true. So looking at the end of 85, right?
The biggest flop of the decade.
Let me think on this list.
At the end of 85.
No. Well,
89.
What is? Streetwalking? What?
Baron was the biggest flop of the day. Baron Munchausen was the biggest flop of the 80s.
Oh, well, that's not on the
Lance
It says 89.
I'm talking about Revolution.
Oh.
Revolution.
Revolution, which came close to absolutely completely destroying the British film industry.
Al Pacino.
Yep. Doing the most bizarre accent ever.
Keep in mind the biggest flop because I have no clue what movie you're talking about.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just bring Chase up to speed.
Is this some kind of like war movie?
No, it's about the American War of Independence.
That's what I just said.
The war movie.
Well, not a war movie as a conventional war movie.
Cut long story short, Goldcrest, the company that produced it, was bankrolled by Warner Brothers, and between 85 and 86, they had 3 major releases. Not one of them made a lot of money. The only one actually made a bit of money was The Mission. But the biggest budgeted one was Revolution, and there was so much writing on it, and it made about $3. It's awful. It is terrible. Okay, and it's not the movie's fault because it's just you can just tell so many fingers are in so many pies. You can just all over it. I mean, it's a really poor casting choices. Hugh Hudson.
It ruined his career.
It seriously hurt his career. He did that right off the back of Greystone.
Yeah.
Now Greystone, once again, is half a great movie. But that's another conversation. But but looking at Revolution, I mean, Al Pacino, Al, love you guys, I love you to death, but you are.
Well, we ruined Al's career for.
He didn't work for.
He
He didn't work for like 3 or 4 years. He just.
I can imagine why.
Yeah.
He has this kind of Cockney stroke Scottish accent in it. Stroke. Hell's Kitchen. That is so bad. It's unbelievable. He simply cannot make his mind up.
And anything with Dexter Fletcher.
And Dexter Fletcher and Sid Owen.
Yes.
Sid Owen himself.
The guy to kill him.
And Annie Lennox. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the only actually person who clearly was enjoying himself was Stephen Murkoff because he's chewing up the scenery.
I think Stephen Murkoff enjoyed himself in everything.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I'd love to see a director try and say, Steve,
bring it down.
What?
So as we look at the end of '85, I mean, we got Spielberg's young Sherlock Holmes, we got Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd and Spies.
Again, not disappointing.
I so was looking for, to me, coming off the back of say Ghostbusters and Fletch.
This is what I mean.
It was like everything. It's like the stars were aligned.
I saw Spies Like Us on a double bill at the Arden.
Okay.
With Clockwise.
Right.
And Clockwise is a better movie.
Yeah, Clockwise
is a way better movie. But John Landis, that whole thing, the package was there, and it's just the script is terrible. Yeah. The first 20 odd minutes is great. The training sequences are fantastic, but as soon as they go off on the mission, it just
I think it's one. Isn't it one of those where it's like, okay, how far are we gonna take this joke? Because like when you got Bill Murray and Stripes.
Right? Yeah, I think Stripes work.
No, this is what I mean. It's like even
though
they had to rescue their commander from the DDR or whatever it is. That was still good, but Spies, there was nowhere to go. This was leading into this could be the end of the world. And these two numbskulls. No, I'm just saying these two numbskulls have to be the ones to say. And it's just like
being funny. The Chevy Chase and Stan Aykroyd, these were two of the biggest comedians. Did they not read the script?
And Dan had a hand in the script. Dan is a fine comic writer himself. He's a fantastic comic writer.
Not being funny, Chevy, but from page 70 onwards is a bit.
It's a sad state of affairs when the cameos start turning up in the hospital, the hospitals in Pakistan. That's to me the highlight of the movie because I'm thinking, oh look, there's Ray Harryhausen, and then General's Terry Gilliam. Wow.
I think
Landis made one of the better movies that same year.
Into the Night is my favourite John Lennon.
Fantastic film.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum.
And everybody. Every director going. Yeah.
It's a stunning film. Again, not as appreciated as it should. Again, with Scorsese's After Hours, which I will.
It was the same type of movie.
Same type of concept, isn't it?
Yeah. And he also got some quality performances out of essentially non-actors. You got a whole bunch of directors there. There's about eight either A or B list directors there. Each one of them, are almost a household name. In some of them, very much so. And they all giving great performances. He does actually do the John Walters thing of putting people together who you'd never expect. I love there's a great fight scene between David Bowie, who actually puts in a fight performance. It's rarely having a huge fight with Carl Perkins. And it's great. It is odd. And of course, Landis himself plays one of the hitmen. Dave Cronenberg's in there as Jeff Goldblum's mate.
One of the 3 bearded hitmen.
First time I watched
Mazursky's in there, and it's just everybody. Jim Henson, Paul Bartel.
But John Lanza did that a lot. I'm trying to think of, because it wasn't that movie, but I don't know if it was 10 to Midnight or something like that, where there was a bunch of guest directors, like at a crime scene or something like that.
No, you're thinking of the Clive Barker short story for the cats.
Cat Eye.
Sleepwalkers, yeah, there's a whole
Sleepwalkers.
Sleepwalkers.
He did a vampire film called Innocent Blood.
Innocent Blood.
Yeah.
Like Clive Barker's and Danny Argento's in it.
Yeah. So he likes doing that.
Yeah,
and I think it shows that he's that kind of guy that, I'm
like
friends with these guys.
and,
Look, I can get anybody to play this, but why don't you guys do it? And
I think it also with Blues Brothers and Spielberg.
So Spielberg turning up at the end of that one, though.
So, he just gets all his friends together.
What about Spielberg dancing?
Have a lot of friends.
What about Spielberg dancing? Austin Powers. What about Spielberg dancing?
But he didn't have a lot of friends after Twilight Zone, so I think he was just trying to gather all his...
that's cool. But then we got something really deep and powerful, The Color Purple. I mean, the birth of Whoopi Goldberg, isn't it? And, again, Danny Glover.
It's the year of Danny Glover.
That was setting us up. Because he had
no Lethal Weapon going on in this year? No
Danny Glover year?
Yeah,
it's the year of the Dan.
Yeah, year of the Dan.
Again, very unusual for Spielberg.
Very.
Well, that's once again his first quote-unquote grown-up movie. What's interesting is it still today it holds the record. It has the most nominations for the Oscars without taking home a single one. 13 nominations.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, he never
didn't take a single
Oscar.
I think people didn't take him. He wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know why. Why do you think that was the case?
I think because he was too candid for America.
Well, that goes back to Jaws.
The story is
famously, Jaws got nominated for Best Movie. It completely revitalized the film industry, and yet he didn't get nominated for Best Director.
But Spielberg. His whole journey is amazing. How he, climbed his way onto the Paramount line, and how he did all the
for a body of
assistant work and all of that. But he also started out doing the Columbo TV shows and everything.
The Night Gallery.
I don't know why he doesn't get any more respect. But also too,
he's not so keen at giving credit though. He's famously not good at giving credit to others.
Well, I don't know.
Paul Schrader around him.
But his producer team of Franklin Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy, he wouldn't be anything without them. Look at the credits on this song. It's always
that's about
got to do it. That's what I mean.
Really good. He has got really good.
They let him do what he wants to do.
But in terms of actual creativity, he's actually quite a large collaborator. What he's famously not very good at is sharing that credit. And a lot of the times, most famously or infamously on Close Encounters, he takes sole writing credit, and a third of those ideas come from Paul Schrader, who walked from the project because he just felt Spielberg is simplifying the story far too much. And the big argument came. They had a big stand-up.
There was a lot of dialogue from that.
Hissy fit because the idea of Roy Neary, Richard Dreyfuss's character, Schrader had originally outlined his character as being an intellectual, and he said that and Spielberg had taken it and just kind of made him an but he said, listen. You've taken a guy who could actually converse and ask questions. You've turned him into the guy who works at McDonald's, and then Spielberg allegedly turned around and said, "Yeah, that's exactly the same. The guy I want to meet aliens." And Paul Schrader said, "That's not the guy I want to meet aliens."
But think about it. If you think about Close Encounters, look at it again. There's very little dialogue in that movie. It's so much of a visual masterpiece. I don't blame Spielberg for trying to take some kind of.
I think simplifying it for the audience. He's all about the audience, and I think that's what.
Yeah, but then to me,
you would agree.
You could argue that's also holding your audience.
Yeah, it is.
And it's like we'll treat it with a bit more respect.
It never did any harm.
But he's also saying, look, there's aliens landing. Why should we have all of this BS sci-fi dialogue and let's just have the experience of seeing freaking aliens land? And all of it is reaction shots. Close Encounters is full of reaction shots. And they run for 10 to 15 minutes. This is all it is. Shot a light in his face. That's all people do in that movie.
Do you think, going back to Color Purple, it wasn't the success Academy-wise because of its subject?
Yeah, I think it was too dark and more than one.
I disagree. I actually think that there was a snobbery towards Spielberg.
I believe
that's the problem. That's the problem. He was in the eyes of the Academy. he was the problem, not the film itself.
Yeah.
I just don't think the movie is that great. It's a fine movie. One thing he's very good at, in fact, if not the best at, is manipulating an audience in terms of their emotions. And when he knows, right, I'm going to upset people here. We'll do it here. We're going to make people feel really good. We're going to do it here. He's absolutely perfect. He's fantastic at pressing those buttons. But no, I think there is such a snob, and that snobbery still exists today.
Yeah, I think it was only.
And it's not just towards him as well, but in terms
I think the problem is that I think if Schindler's hadn't won what it won, it would have been an absolute outcry.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think
So then why does Schindler's
the problem I have with the likes of Schindler's List though is that a movie isn't worthy just because it's subject matter. And that's what pisses me off.
I don't know, man.
But the thing is with Schindler's, I think it was worked both ways because it was such a good film.
It is a good movie.
And to make 2 films that same year.
To be
No. To have Schindler's and Jurassic Park coming out the same year.
You can't. Yeah, you can never say.
Yeah,
you can never say the guy was
Holmes here, didn't he?
like, you know. I mean, it's supposed to the only other really example of that is someone like Kubrick, who's so the movies are so diametrically different.
Yeah, but if you put that on, you think
not the same guy. Yeah, not the same guy at all.
But it is.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
but you know, I think Spielberg is more producer than director because he has so much experience that he can assess very cleverly, like what's right and what's wrong. I mean, like when he's producing for George Lucas or when he was on the Young Indiana Jones. I mean, Spielberg he rides to people like not like monkeys, but you know he's there. You know, Amazing Stories. You know, when he did Amazing Stories,
he gets on people's.
I'm never a fan of that.
On the nerves.
But if you look at 85, that was the year Spielberg produced.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
Goonies.
It was his idea to do the lightning bolt, you know.
Yeah. But that's it. That was his first year. Although the previous year he did Gremlins.
Gremlins was the first movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember. In fact, it's not his first movie as producer, but it was his first movie where he had clout as a producer.
Yeah.
He could have his name all over it.
And then 85 was the big boom.
Yeah, like I say, we had young Sherlock Holmes. We had Goonies.
Sherlock Holmes.
Back to the Future, obviously, being the biggest of the bunch. Goonies, though, once again, another unpopular vote for me. I hate it. I always hated it. It looks fantastic. I just hate the kids with a heartbeat, with an absolute vengeance. I just can't stand it. Even back then, I couldn't stand it. Richard Donner, to me, walks on water. That's for most of us, but sorry.
I get two film year for Richard Donner.
Yeah, Lady Hawk as well. Another movie that I want to love, but
I like it.
I want it, and I remember when it was coming out, I was so excited. Flesh and Blood is better. Way better. And I love the fact that I remember when Flesh and Blood came out, and Barry Norman, or whoever was reviewing it at the time, said that I come close to walking out. I found this film disgusting. I found every character in this completely.
You had to go and see it.
And I thought, where's my ticket? I need this ticket. And unfortunately though, that's a film that gets forgotten by so-called Paul Verhoeven fans because they always cite, RoboCop this and RoboCop that as his first American thing. Well, no, Showgirls gets more publicity and gets more than Flesh and Blood, and that's ridiculous. But Flesh and Blood, it pulls no punches. It's essentially a European film in English, and I love the fact he took Orion's money, and that's all the better for it. And they still gave him money to do RoboCop.
Well, you know what I'm noticing here is this trend that they had in this period when Back to the Future came out is these science films. Like you got Weird Science, Real Genius, and My Science Project.
My Science Project, which is absolute unappreciated.
And Explorers.
Well, that's a funny because Explorers. You say because Explorers has a funny old history because there's a problem with the studio.
Was it Toby Hooper?
No, it's Joe Dante. Joe Dante. Now the studio didn't like the cut and they recut it and it got delayed. It got delayed for international release. And we didn't get over it to something nearly like something. Year, 2 years.
So what? Is it different? Have you seen both cuts?
I don't think there's. I think the original cut is now the cut, but we had a different cut released over here. I've seen both, and I don't think there's hardly any difference.
I've seen it once,
and it's one of those classic examples of okay, we'll cut it, and you don't cut it, and you tell them you cut it, and they go, oh, genius. You hated it before.
Who knew?
Yeah.
But that was
it's like the
interesting.
Scarface situation,
Yeah. what's interesting here, I'm seeing about Real Genius. I remember watching this in college.
I love Real Genius.
And it wasn't Val Kilmer, wasn't it? It was one of his first films, wasn't it? Like
second after
Top Secret. Yeah, but then he became not legendary. Yeah. But it's just that. What do you think? There was this whole. We had the music scene, and then we had these. Because I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of these other science films like Zapped or whatever going on at the time too. That's not on the list. You know, so I mean, what do you think was going on there? It's like they just figured, hey, it's just tap that market.
Just Back to the Future, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because where's Revenge of the Nerds in this? Is it before that?
That was 84.
So it's the year before as well. It's like war games, kids.
Well, see, this is what I mean. So
because the rise of the home computer is just another market for the studio.
That's
exactly what it is. They're just trying to tackle
TV series back in the 84 called WizKids.
Oh yeah.
No, but I think we're saying like Murph hit it. That's what it is.
Misfits of Science. I love TV.
Oh, 85 or 86. It was around that time. It was around that time.
And Courtney Cox, who also appeared in was it Cocoon: The Return? Yeah. Which was the sequel to the 80. Which was the sequel to the 85. I'm trying to bring it back, folks.
And the Predator. Don't forget the Predator was in it.
Okay. But getting back to the science thing, it's just another market for them to exploit.
No, but I think you hit it on the nail.
It's not trend.
Head about
it's not just a movie trend. It's a fact. It's no.
It is though, because that was also on this list.
No. I'm saying it's not a trend. It's just another market. You know, and that's all they're trying to do is to milk that and whatever. Put it this way, that's how you end up with like bicycle movies. Kids on bicycles. Bicycle movies.
What is it? Breaking Away.
The bike kid.
The bike thief.
And invariably, the studios, the funders get it wrong. Because they think, we need to have a movie, the internet, the rise of the internet. So what do we get? We get a movie, The Net.
That was horrible.
But I'm saying,
nobody else should bring that one up.
I think that's how it is.
Movies
But I think because Back to the Future,
I'm pretty sure there was one.
Early on in the year, it was like kids in peril, kids in fantasy, kids.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Cocky kids as well.
I still think that it is a nice trend point.
Yeah,
of
the 85
the home computer. I think it does tap into that.
If we look at some of the
Electric Dreams was 84 as well.
Oh yeah, Electric Dreams, yeah.
Once again, though, it's a home computer.
Short Circuit.
Short Circuit.
So that was 86.
It's coming. See, there you go.
But get back to my science project, though. It's seriously, it's a underappreciated little gem, and it's really, really funny. And Fisher Stevens is. I remember just thinking
Before Short Circuit.
I want to have a whole movie of just him.
Why did he pay an Asian guy? Or
No, that was just in Short Circuit.
Okay,
He was Peter Sellers.
I was hoping.
Looking back now, you're like,
I was hoping you would.
What are you doing, Fisher?
Well, he plays a streetwise guy. He plays a street in my science project. He's the streetwise kind of a guy from the city. He's in the he's like California thing, but he's from like the Bronx. But he owns that film, and it has one of, up until say Jurassic Park, the best dinosaur effects I have seen prior to that. It's puppetry, but it's absolutely fantastic. And it holds up really well. And there is a decent widescreen edition of it available.
The guy with a gun on a poster.
Come on, Disney, you own it because it was a Touchstone movie.
Was it
Touchstone? Touchstone, because Touchstone started out the year before, and by the time 85 comes along, it's like Touchstone's this, it's Touchstone's that. They owned half of the second half of the 80s. It's definitely the year of Touchstone.
So anyway, like coming down at the end, like final film tribute to 85.
Baby.
What?
Baby. Yeah. What's the full title? Baby, the Secret of
Secret of the Lost.
Baby, you must have seen
Baby, the Secret of
huge flop for Disney.
Yeah, probably.
Live action dinosaur movie where they find a brontosaurus. No, is it brontosaurus? It's a brontosaurus in Africa, and it's a guy in a suit, and who on earth thought it would work?
You did.
Patrick McGowan.
Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah, it has.
As does King Solomon's Man.
Yes, which once again, all roads lead to
Quartermain.
Canon.
A soundtrack so good on King Solomon's Man, they used it in everything. Canon.
I doubt Jerry got the check.
I don't think so. Actually, knowing Jerry probably did. Probably would have closed their door down.
Well, me, I'm going to go for Clue.
Clue's a great film.
I'm gonna go for Clue because like it was like a film with 3 different endings, and it was a mad marketing scheme. Because I remember being in the pictures, it wasn't that expensive to go to the pictures. That oh man, there's another ending. I go and watch the movie in the next scene, and I come back, and then watch then I'm watching the exact same movie just for the the real. I was like, oh my god, what am I doing? And then there was one that you could get all 3 endings, wasn't it? Eventually, or whatever. Yeah.
In fact, all 3. In fact, when it's screened on TV now, you get all 3. Yeah. I will point out, 85 though does have possibly the single greatest musical moment of any film ever, and that's the introduction of Ivan Drago as he rises up through the floor, and the Godfather and the Godfather himself takes to the stage. To the string, and seeing Carl Weathers dancing with his gloves and his big hat on was a joy to behold. The only reason I saw
they should have done that scene in the James Brown movie. I was waiting for it. You don't know.
After all that, we never even mentioned Red Sonja.
We never even, and we won.
Well, there was a reason,
and we won.
I mean, Ernie Reyes
looks
Jr.
great.
is the only thing I like in that movie.
Costumes. Dino's money all over the screen.
I'd rather have had Conan 3.
Dog turd of a film.
No. I said I would rather have Conan 3 as opposed because it was Schwarzenegger decided to do King Kong, and he didn't even get none from Richard Nielsen. I mean, because she was giving it to him. She didn't even get none because like she was giving it up to Stallone to give it to Rocky IV. How did she get that movie?
Well,
because he's still after it.
I know. This is what I'm saying.
I thought, good help.
Hey, can I have some of this too? I heard that you are very appreciative.
I'll show you my chopper.
I gave up my 3rd film.
Can I call you Chenny?
Seriously.
Right, okay. Well, as we are, we're going to wrap.
We are wrapping.
We're wrapping it up now.
Rapping's a good thing.
Rapping's another good one. But I think, okay. But on the last note, we cannot avoid.
Invasion of Israel.
Well, no, there's one higher. There's one higher. And it involves an Australian villain. I'm going to shoot you between the bowels!
Ready?
Well, Commando was Commando.
Commando, come on.
Commando.
Well, Commando,
who's once again.
Done. Come on now, done.
Well, it was a weird science. In fact, 85 was a good year.
We never even mentioned Mad Max 3.
Mad Max 3, actually, I was a big fan of it at the time. I know a lot of people, all my friends, hated it because it wasn't Mad Max 2.
And because
wanted it because all they wanted was more cars. And I just thought it made sense to slow things. It's supposed to be set later. Listen, we've got Mad Max Fury Road. You will be happy. You will be happy. And apparently there's only about 5% CG as well.
Charlize Theron, big teeth.
Indeed. And what's his name? Nicholas Hoult. Getting back to Commando. Let's just think about that for a second. I mean, it's got a great score, fantastic score, completely rehashed from the 40 hours.
Freaking love it, man. It's one of those movies you can turn on and just watch.
And one of the funniest moments ever watching a movie was I watched it for the first time with a whole bunch of friends, and the scene where Arnold is carrying a tree.
The big tree trunk.
Because he was the and my friend shouted out, "What's the matter, Arnold? Wouldn't it flush?" I forget the next 15 minutes because I was just on the floor crying.
Someone in the cinema shouted, "It's a fucking log!"